Hello, I'm Katie Alford, President and CEO of the Community Foundation of Abilene. Thank you for joining us for our annual update. We realize watching online isn't quite the same as getting together in person for our annual luncheon, and certainly not as tasty. We originally planned on having the luncheon this year. Then, when another spike of illnesses hit our community, we decided to go virtual instead. All because we care about your well-being. It turns out we probably could have held it in person and everything would have been fine, but we had to make a decision months in advance, and we did what we felt was right. Even though we're gathering online, we're confident today's event will be truly special. We hope you'll stick with us for the entire program today, just like you would if we were together at the luncheon. We're going to share data and hear stories from speakers, all to show the unprecedented impact CFA and our donors had on the community during our past fiscal year. Much of what we'll talk about today is also in our annual report. Many of you should have received one in the mail and can follow along from home. If you don't have one, you can find the report online at cfabilene.org/reports. You'll notice the colors are vibrant. This was intentional. We all know how trying the years 2020 and 21 have been for everyone, but there has also been a lot of good. We wanted this report to bring some levity and be a celebration of the brightness our donors brought to the community over the past year. You'll also see a tree on the front of the report. The tree is a metaphor representing our mission and the power of endowment. Our mission is to empower people to make a lasting charitable impact on our community. And we have a vision for a thriving Abilene endowed forever. We'll show a video in just a few minutes to explain the tree concept, but first, I want to sincerely thank our donors and our Board of Trustees for all that they do to support the Foundation's work, especially our amazing Board Chair, Jeff Blanks. I'd like to invite Jeff to share a few highlights from our past fiscal year.
Good afternoon out there. Glad you could join us for this annual update. I've been honored this past year to serve as board chair for the Community Foundation. For the past 12 months, I've been fortunate enough to be a part of an incredible team, including volunteers, staff, Board of Trustees, and most importantly, the donors. They've given of their time, their energy, and what they've accomplished is truly remarkable. So, as you may know or not, I'm a numbers guy. So instead of just talking about them, let me show you. We're going to highlight some major accomplishments from our 2021 fiscal year, which was July 2020 through June of 2021. If you have your annual report, you can follow along on page 1. We closed fiscal year 2021 with an all-time high of $180.4 million in total assets. And we awarded a record $13.4 million in grants, many of which were in direct response to meet the nonprofit needs brought on by the pandemic. When an apartment fire displaced dozens of people in February of this year, CFA and our fund holders quickly responded with $20,000 in grants to the Christian Service Center of Abilene and the American Red Cross to provide immediate needs for these families. When the brutal winter storm hit in February, CFA and our donor-advised fund holders granted more than $219,000 for relief and recovery needs. In April of this year, the foundation granted $507,000 to small businesses affected by the pandemic. For that, we partnered with the City of Abilene and the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development to administer these federal funds. In May, CFA awarded a record $625,000 in college scholarships to area students from our donors' scholarship funds, the most ever in a single year. And of course, Abilene Gives. Our own community raised nearly $2 million for local nonprofits in just 24 hours for an annual day of giving. You can see why I'm proud to serve on the board of this incredible organization. Their commitment and hard work is a big part of a landmark year of giving from the CFA. And on a personal note, I want to thank each and every one of our board members for your efforts and your loyalty. It's truly special and deeply appreciated. Katie?
Let's look again at the tree on the cover of the report. The stats you just heard from Jeff are possible because of people like you and the power of endowment. That's what the tree represents. Now we're going to show a short video to explain what we do, how endowment works, and why a fruit-bearing tree symbolizes our partnership with donors.
Imagine having a way to make a single gift that can grow and support the charitable causes you care about year after year for impact that lasts. That's why we exist. We're the Community Foundation of Abilene. Our mission is to empower people to make a lasting charitable impact on our community. We call it a lasting impact because the power of endowment. Here's how endowment works. A donor makes a gift to establish a fund. The foundation strategically invests the donation to help the fund grow over time. We award grants from the fund's revenue each year to causes that matter to the donor. The number of grants from a fund can eventually exceed the amount of the original gift. That's why we call it a lasting impact. It's a sustainable model of philanthropy. Let's look at it another way. Imagine a tree that grows and bears fruit each year. This repeated fruit bearing is what endowment makes possible. Think of the donor as the one ready to plant a tree. The Community Foundation helps them plant it. Then we nourish the soil and tree so that it grows and bears fruit year after year. That's the power of endowment. We are here to be your partner in charitable giving so that you can make an impact that lasts. cfabilene.org.
It all starts with the donors, people who want their charitable gifts to make a lasting, perpetual impact on the causes they care about. People like Loda Zoth and Carrie Cawthron, who established the Inspire Services Donor Advice Fund at the Community Foundation just a couple of years ago. You can read more about their story on page 8 of your annual report, and we're going to hear from Loda and Carrie right now.
When Carrie and I established our Donor Advice Fund at the Community Foundation, we decided to call it Inspired Services because it's our passion, now that we're at the end of our professional lives, to provide inspired services, primarily in the form of volunteering and giving in various ways to aid underprivileged individuals and families.
Loda and I were both recipients of scholarships and services when we were growing up that gave us chances that we would not have had otherwise. When I was about 5 years old and shaped like Charlie Brown, I had a condition in my hips where the ball and socket joint didn't form properly, and I would fall down a lot. It was called Legg-Perthes disease. My mom knew that something wasn't right, and she took me to the doctors both here and finally in Dallas, and I was the beneficiary of being able to go to the Scottish Rite Hospital in Dallas, where they knew what to do and got me walking properly again and got my bones fixed. My family would never have been able to afford care had it not been for the generous benefactors of the Scottish Rite Hospital. I've never forgotten that, and it inspired me to become a benefactor for children and families who need services today.
And I was able to attend Texas Tech due to the generosity of people who established scholarship funds for which I was able to apply for and receive. Because of this generosity, I became the first college graduate out of my family. Like Carrie, I've never forgotten that, and I also want to be a benefactor to children and families who need a hand today.
We first became aware of the Community Foundation in Abilene because of our work with Camp Able. The CFA was very supportive to my aunt, Renee Hicks, who had a vision for what Camp Able could be. As we learned more about the connections made through the Community Foundation, we knew that we wanted to play a role in supporting the community through the Community Foundation.
We took the opportunity to create our Donor Advice Fund at the Community Foundation in 2019 and have been so impressed at how simple and efficient it is to make grants. We would encourage anyone who's looking at doing this to just do it, and you will be very happy with the service you receive.
I agree, and we are looking forward to many years of grant making from our donor-advised fund. We hope that you are inspired to do the same.
Thank you, Loda and Carrie. Many of our donor-advised fund holders contributed grants from their funds to support nonprofits participating in Abilene Gives. In fact, of the nearly $2 million we raised during the Giving Day, $567,000 came from CFA donor-advised fund holders. A donor-advised fund is just one of several fund types we offer. A donor-advised fund is for donors who want the flexibility to make grants from their funds to various nonprofits throughout the year. We also manage scholarship funds, which award college scholarships, designated funds, which make grants to a specified nonprofit each year. These can be established by a donor or by the nonprofit agency itself. Unrestricted funds are established by donors who want to see the foundation make grants to evolving needs throughout the years. The grants we make during our competitive discretionary grant cycles come from unrestricted fund revenue. And we have field of interest funds, which are for donors who want grants from their funds to go to nonprofits in a particular cause area, like children and youth, mental health needs, or animals, for instance. We're going to watch a 6-minute video featuring some of our fund holders and a local nonprofit. One of the donors in the video is Nita Slayton, who established a new field of interest fund serving local animals in honor of her late husband, Steve. You'll also see the Alexander family, who established a donor-advised fund so that multiple generations of family members can participate in grant-making decisions together. And you'll hear from representatives of Big Brothers Big Sisters of Abilene, a local organization that can truly attest to the impact of endowed philanthropy on local nonprofits. This year, Big Brothers Big Sisters faced the heartbreaking passing of their market president, Mark Rogers, an inspirational leader who leaves an indelible legacy in our community. Each of these stories is also featured in our annual report. Let's watch.
I think the thing that's most overwhelming and wonderful about that is that you see the sense of community that Abilene has, but also the impact that Mark Rogers made in his life and people wanting to support not just him, but Big Brothers, Big Sisters. Just the sense of togetherness is really beautiful. Filling this space and carrying on this legacy is, to this date, it's the greatest honor of my life. I know that there was an unexpected outpouring during Abilene Gives, and it doubled the goal that Big Brothers Big Sisters was looking for. So in a time where there's not a whole lot of active fundraising happening, it helped carry through like this big gap in funding. Everybody felt the huge weight of carrying the organization. I think people really did step up to show that they care about Big Brothers Big Sisters and that they wanted to pitch in and help. I really, really am hopeful that we see strong leadership happen in our community and that it spreads outside of Abilene. I hope we can look back on littles that have been in this program that have lived into their potential and they're changing the world, and they can attribute a lot of that to their bigs and being matched through Big Brothers Big Sisters.
It's kind of like having a mentor that you get to have fun with and hang out with, and they kind of show you and help you learn like life lessons, and it's just a lot of fun.
The most special moments is when they take you places, you hang out with the family, it just make you feel like you're a big part of the family with them.
One time I went to the Rangers Stadium and it was really fun, and we like spent the day there and we got to see them play. I think it was the Astros, but anyways, it was really fun. I want to say thank you for giving your time and your effort and your money to help people who need it, and thank you for making them feel safe.
My late husband, Steve, loved animals, especially cats. And so while I was working at the Community Foundation, I found out about the funds that were already established there that were for humane treatment of animals. And he said, that is exactly what I want. I want to set up a fund that will take care of animals. And I said, well, exactly what do you want that fund to do? And he said, well, you know, we took our cat to Dallas for cancer treatments. It was very expensive. He said, there'd be a lot of people that wouldn't be able to do that for their pet. So I would really like to have it provide medical treatments, expensive medical treatments, help pay for those for people that have a favorite pet that gets ill and they want to try to take care of them. Well, we wanted it to be something that would go on for many years. And an endowment is really like a gift that just keeps giving. It goes on and takes care of the tomorrows. And I feel that's very important. I hope that it will provide funds to help more pets be placed into homes with loving families and have less pets that have nowhere to go. That's the key thing for me is I want the connection there between Steve's fund and having a result of a family having a loving pet.
No, I think the generation business is what's important to all of us, is passing everything down to generation. They don't have a say in what's going on, but have a guidance also.
Well, I think my parents, just had generous hearts. And then to get to see the Community Foundation really blossom and grow, that's been amazing.
A couple of years ago, we really became a partnership of the three families, set up the Alexander Family's Giving Fund at the foundation. It really not only to allow us to give additional funds to the community, but also to, like Kathy said earlier, to involve our kids and Minor's siblings in some of that and to model what Jim and Jerry modeled for us.
We're all free to bring up ideas that we've come across.
Just being a part, seeing my grandparents over the years and parents being outstanding stewards of their successes and blessings, and just the way that they've been able to give back in response to those successes. And now being a part of that has been very humbling. And I just would like to pass that on to my children and the next generation, that example that I've been shown and get to be a part of right now.
It's really a partnership, and we get together, we talk about it, and it just makes it really enjoyable to give like that. And the Community Foundation is fantastic as a source for ideas and the vetting of what we're going to give. They make it really easy.
Again, you can find each of these stories in our annual report. Now, here to tell us a little bit more about the impact CFA donors in the community have had on Big Brothers Big Sisters this year, I'd like to welcome Dylan Cobb and the new market president for Big Brothers Big Sisters Abilene, Talon Cobb.
I'm Talon Cobb, and this is my husband Dylan, and we are so honored to be able to speak to all of the stakeholders for Community Foundation of Abilene on behalf of Big Brothers Big Sisters. It's been a hard couple of years with the pandemic, and then especially this last year after Big Brothers Big Sisters lost our best friend and the leader of that organization, Mark Rogers. And this is an incredible opportunity to just say thank you. I stepped into the role of market president in August, and I have consistently been able to look back at our financials and the things that have carried us through this year. And the Community Foundation of Abilene, donor advised funds, individual giving that came in after the loss of Mark, and during Abilene Gives have really made an incredible impact on the sustainability of our organization this year. And we know going forward that Community Foundation has been here and will be here to help rally our community in a way that nobody else can. And I think that's really the most beautiful thing that comes from this really horrific year, is seeing the way individuals and the people of Abilene show up and step up to help and support in times of loss and hardship. And our programs could not have survived without that help, and our organization would be really in a really hard place if it were not for your help. So we thank Community Foundation for all of that. Mark loved Big Brothers Big Sisters. To transition to him a little bit, he really was the best at honoring relationships and building relationships, and that is the goal of our programs, to build one-to-one relationships. We support one-to-one mentoring, and the goal is to create a lifelong friendship between a big and a little. And we got to experience that firsthand. We got to watch Mark with his little brother Jacob as they formed a really unique and beautiful friendship over the years that they were matched together. And then we've gotten to experience that ourselves with our little LD. And I'm gonna let Dylan share just a little bit more about our relationship with LaDonovan.
Yeah, so I became a big about 3.5 years ago. I was a lunch buddy, which means that I spent about 20 minutes once a week eating lunch with him at his school. And after that first year, I decided I wanted to transition to community-based, which meant I could go pick him up, took him to sports and things like that. We developed such a friendship, more like a brotherhood rather than a parent-child, to the point where he moved away to Virginia, and we stayed in close contact, even stayed matched, communicated regularly. And then when he came back here, we reconnected and really grew our bond even closer, to the point where now we've even converted to a big family. So we've gone lunch buddy to community-based, and now big family, to where we can all, he can spend time with our whole family, and he loves our children. So that has been the biggest blessing to me, is just growing in a friendship to a kid that he may think that I'm his biggest blessing, but I would consider him one of our biggest blessings.
Yeah, and it's the only reason we have that relationship with LD is because of Big Brothers Big Sisters and the program opportunities there. And again, programs that are supported by CFA, CFA funds and grants, and we are so appreciative. And Mark's legacy lives on through every single match that is made and every single donor that supports the programs at Big Brothers Big Sisters, is just ensuring that everything he worked towards is being honored and fulfilled. And we are so thankful for all of your support and the opportunity to talk about our friend and our love of Big Brothers Big Sisters.
Thank you so much, Talon and Dylan. Big Brothers Big Sisters was among dozens of local nonprofits to receive grants from CFA's competitive grant cycles over this past year. You can read more about our grant making on pages 12 and 13 of our annual report. You'll see that of our $13.4 million in grants from all fund types, more than $1 million of this was from unrestricted funds. That's a 51% increase over fiscal year 2020. This increase in unrestricted grant making is largely due to a collaborative effort to respond to nonprofit needs related to the effects of the pandemic. To help deploy more funds as quickly as possible, we combined our fall and spring grant cycles during our last fiscal year, and we allowed nonprofits to apply for funds for any need. Partners like Beltway Park Church and many of our fund holders contributed to this grant cycle, making it the greatest amount of unrestricted funds we have ever granted in a single year. We are nearing the end of our event, but first we want to give you the chance to be a grant maker. We're going to choose 5 people who will each get to choose a local nonprofit to receive a $100 grant. Just comment on this live stream right now with the hashtag CFAbilene. We will randomly select 5 people within the next couple of hours. If you are chosen, we'll reply to your comment to let you know. Again, just comment with the hashtag CFAbilene. Before we go, if anything you heard today resonated with you, I want to quickly share some ways you can get involved with CFA. You can become a friend of the Community Foundation for just $200 a year for an individual or couple. Friends support our operations and our ability to provide free educational opportunities for nonprofits in the community. Or you can become a Future Fund member for $250 per year for an individual or couple. Future Fund is a membership-supported endowment that makes grants to nonprofits serving local children and youth. You can also donate to any amount to support nonprofits applying for funding through our grant cycles in the fall and spring. Follow us on social media and join our email list to stay updated about these opportunities. And if you're ready to talk about how we can help you make a lasting charitable impact through endowment, either now or as a planned gift, I personally would love to meet with you. Just contact our team at the information on this screen and with any questions. This concludes our 2021 annual update. On behalf of our team and our board, I want to sincerely thank you, our donors, our community partners, and all of you for watching today. We invite you to learn more about the Community Foundation of Abilene by visiting our website, cfabilene.org. Together, we can fulfill our vision for a thriving Abilene endowed forever. Thank you.